History as the greatest.
To celebrate the 50th anniversary of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech, every student at Owensboro High School listened to the speech in their academic enrichment class. OHS teacher Cody Russellberg talks to his freshman class about the assignment.
GRE, whatever acronym you want to fill in for your test that you're going to be taking, context clues are really important. It's a really important skill to have. You will not understand or know every vocab word that you're presented with, but based upon the context in which you read it, you may be able to figure something out.
The event was so popular, it was picked up by Eyewitness News. After the speech, Eyewitness News took some time to speak to students and teachers about what they thought of the speech in that era.
Today, the anniversary of the I Have a Dream speech, very iconic speech. Tell me a little bit about what you know about Martin Luther King.
I know that it was held in Washington, D.C., and that over 1 million people were at there. And he made a speech about how blacks should be free. And the speech was like 17 minutes long, and that's about the main thing of the whole entire speech that I do know, and that he just wanted equal rights for everyone. Yeah.
So have you been, these things that you know about MLK, were you taught in school, or is this something you got outside of school?
Somewhat school. I had to learn, I learned some of it out of school because I've done a lot of research over it.
Today, 50th anniversary of Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. Whenever you were listening to it in the classroom, what kind of emotions and thoughts were you feeling?
Just by the tone of his voice, it kind of gets you interested because he's so passionate about it, and it definitely makes me, I can't imagine living in a town like that and just being there and seeing that many people so passionate about the movement.
When you think about how that was all separate and now where we are today, what do you think about that?
I just really can't really ever picture it because it don't sound like something like that would actually happen, but it did, because like nowadays we have everyone's all in just one separate, we have one fountain for everyone and bathrooms for just one race, just either male or female, and it ain't split up by color. So it's horrible thinking of how it used to be compared to it is now. Most people probably think that one person, if they have something they want to stand up for, probably can't do it, but yet Martin Luther King, he could be a great inspiration to everyone to help that one person lead up to stand up for what they believe in.
What do you think about it was so different just 50 years ago?
Well, it kind of surprises me about how many people were there. Over 1 million.
Can you explain the assignment that you had for your freshman year?
Sure. We have a 30-minute intervention block, we call it. It's called College and Career Readiness between third and fourth period. And in that time, we have kids from all grade levels working on specific skills, reading and writing skills, or math and science skills. We thought that it would be a really good opportunity to not only commemorate the event, but also work on our ACT skills. So what we decided to do was we gave them a handout with the speech translated word for word, and I had them follow along as we listened to the speech. But as they went along and listened to the speech, they identified words that they probably didn't know the meaning of, especially freshmen. Vocabulary is something we really try to put a focus on for ACT, and so a lot of the words that Martin Luther King Jr. uses in his speech were difficult. It does present a little bit of a challenge with the younger kids and the maturity level that they have, but basically we try to in any way possible relate the struggles that the civil rights movement presents to anything that they might be going through in their own life, anything they can relate it to in their own lives. And a lot of times we'll start with the diversity even of this school. Owensboro High School has a diverse population, all different histories and backgrounds, and we, as much as we can, try to get them to appreciate that diversity and what it can actually do for their perspective. Just as a student and you know, as a family member, so on and so forth. So it does present a challenge, the fact that their maturity level doesn't allow them to fully wrap their heads around that sort of concept. But anything that we can try to relate to in their own lives, we try to do so. I mean, it's really hard to get high schoolers in general to care a whole lot about you know, something that happened 60 years ago, and much less they're more worried about what's going on Friday night, you know. But if we can try to make that connection with their lives and where they can see the gains that Martin Luther King Jr. was responsible for, and really the whole movement, then that's really where we start, I think.
Well, we were talking to students earlier, and I was saying to them that, you know, it was only 50 years ago. I mean, that may seem like a lot because that's like more than double their lifetime. But it was only 50 years ago. You know, how exactly do you stress that that's a short amount of time and we have gone leaps and bounds in civil rights since then?
It's tough. I'll tell you, I actually had a student today. We weren't talking about the civil rights movement per se, but they were asking about the Holocaust. And we said something along the lines, we're in our U.S. history classes right now, we're starting the Civil War, which was 1861. And I made a reference, somebody asked about the Holocaust, and I said, well, you know, that was during World War II, in the 1930s, 1940s, and they just said the 1940s, you know. I said, yeah, like 60 years ago, you know, and it kind of blew their mind. So I think if I really want to give them a better idea of how short or how soon that was, actually, historically speaking, I think it helps to look at it that way in the broad context of American history, for example. You know, when you say, oh, the Civil War seems ancient, you know, and it was such and such years ago, but if you compare it to something that was really long ago, and then compare it to something else, they get a better context, a better concept of how soon that really was. I'll tell you another thing I've done actually too is a lot of times there's still people around that have lived through the civil rights movement. Many of our grandparents have lived through the civil rights movement. So a lot of us will set up interviews, you know, with their parents and their grandparents and so on and so forth, and that really brings it kind of alive for them. Like, oh, when you were my age, this is what was going on. And so that gives them something related to as well, and they realize that it wasn't that far away. So.